Now we will discuss the deletion operation in circular queue. So this is the uh, algorithm for deletion operation in a circular queue. And in a circular queue, we know that the uh, last position, whenever the circular queue is full, then the insertion can be done at the first position. Okay. So this is the diagram of a circular queue you can see, and the index of the circular queue starts from 0. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and again you see the next position is starting from again 0. So it's a circular queue. Okay. So now in this case you see this front is pointing to the 0th index and the element is 10, and rear is pointing to this 4th index and the value is 50. Okay. So rear is always pointing to the last element, front is always pointing to the first element. Okay. Now suppose you will, and we know that deletion is done at the front end only. Okay. So deletion is done at the front end and insertion is done at the rear end. And whenever you do insertion operation, you have to first increment this rear value by 1 and then you will insert. Suppose you want to insert here, then you will increment the value of rear. Now rear value is 4, so it will be, after incrementation it will be 5, then you can insert here. Similarly, whenever you want to delete some data, suppose you want to delete this step. So what will happen? You will first take this value and remove this, and then this point front will point to the this next location to this. Okay, front value will become 1. Okay, front value will be incremented by 1. Okay, because front is always pointing to the data, first data. So if you are deleting this, there is no data here. So it should point to the next data, this one. Okay. So in case of deletion, front is incremented by 1, and in case of insertion, rear is incremented by 1. And since it's a circular queue, this rear and front, this will move like this in a circular manner. Okay. Rear will move like this. Okay. And it will move like this in a circular manner. So front will also move like this in a circular manner. Okay. So the value of front will, if you keep deleting all the data, the value of this front will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then again it will be 0 like this. Similarly, if you are inserting data, then the value of rear will be 4, 5, 6, 7, 0, okay, and again 0, then 1, like this it will increment and it will be in a circular manner. Okay, that's why it is a circular. And this is the algorithm for a deletion operation in a circular queue. And we know that during deletion operation, the front value is incremented by 1, and here we increment the value of front by 1, and again we actually find the remainder of that value. Okay, by dividing that with the size of this queue. Okay, because the value is again, after the last position, the index value is again coming to 0. Okay, that can only be found by using this remainder operator. Okay, the percentile. Okay. So during deletion, first step is to check whether the circular queue is empty or not. If the circular queue is empty, that means there is no element in the queue, so you cannot delete. So in that case, you have to print a error message that the circular queue is empty. That case is known as underflow. So see here, and we know that during deletion, the underflow condition is if the value of front and rear both are -1, so that means the queue is empty. Okay. So during underflow condition checking, only you have to check this front value, because when you insert some value, this front value is also incremented. Okay. So you just check this front value whether it is -1 or not. If it is -1, then that means the queue is empty. So print this underflow. Okay. Else, if this front is not -1, that means front has some other value. Okay. Maybe some any value it may have 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 7. It may have any value. Okay. Then what to do? Just take the value. Just take the value. Okay. So this value CQ front is taken and that is assigned to this item. Okay. And then again you are checking whether the front and rear value is same. This is also another case. If front is the rear value, I have already told you that if front and rear value are same, then there is only one element in the circular queue. Yes or no? Yes or no, students? If front and rear value is same, that means there is only one element in the circular queue. Suppose here you see you deleted this one, you deleted this one, you deleted this one, again deleted this one. Okay. Now after deleting all these elements, what will be the value of front and rear? Tell me.
Sir, 50.
Huh?
Sir, 50.
I'm asking value of front and rear.
Minus
I'm
1.
not.
Oh,
Huh?
4, 4.
4. You have to, whenever I ask you value of front and rear, you have to tell the index value. Okay, not this data. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So when I delete all these 3 data items, the value of front and rear becomes only 4. So both are same. Front is 4 and rear also 4. Okay. So both are having same value, right? So now again, suppose I want to delete this 50. So if you delete 50, then what will happen? The queue will become empty. So whenever the queue becomes empty, you have to assign this front value and rear value to -1. Okay. If there is only one element after deleting these 3, there is only one element, this 50. Okay. And in that case, front value is same as rear value, that is 4. So at that case, whenever you want to delete this that same value, last value, okay, after that this queue will be empty. Okay. And when the queue becomes empty, you have to assign front equals to -1 and rear equals to -1. Right? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you see, if front equals to rear, then what to do? Just assign set front equals to -1 and set rear equals to -1. We initialize these two, so that this is the case for the empty queue. Okay. Whenever the queue is empty, front value is -1, rear value is -1. So we are making that, right? And if this is also not the case, I mean, if front is not equals to rear, that means what? There are some more items in the queue, right? So if there are some more items in the queue, then what to do? Just do this one. You see else. Front equals to front plus 1. Then this percentile n. Okay. Suppose this is the case. Okay. So in this case, I mean, this is not satisfied. This is not satisfied. That means what? This is the case. So what will happen? You will delete this. Suppose 10 you want to delete. After deletion, what will happen? You have to increase this front value. Front was 0, and you have to increment this by 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1. So 1 more or remainder operator. Then n value is how much? 8. So 1 mod 8 is how much? Same 1. Okay. So front value becomes 1. So this way deletion operation is done. Right? Any question? Any question in deletion operation of the
No, sir.
circular? Okay.
No, sir.
So now let us see the C function to delete an element from the circular queue. So this is the function void CQ delete, and int item. Item is a variable that will store the item deleted. Okay. So first we will check the underflow condition. So what's the underflow condition? Front value equals to -1 or not. So you check here, if front equals to -1, then print this message, printf circular queue is underflow. Right? Then return. Return means we will exit from the program. If this is not satisfied, then what to do? Just delete the item, and after deleting, you assign that to this variable item, and then again you check this. If front equals rear, you see here, same thing is done. According to the algorithm is done. If front equals to rear, then set this. So that is done here. If front equals to rear, then front equals to -1, rear equals to -1. Else means this else, if this is not satisfied, then what to do? Just increment this, do this front equals to front plus 1 mod n. Here in algorithm write set, right? Set. Yes. Now see here, front equals to front plus 1 mod n, right? And then just up to this deletion is completed and front value is also updated, and then you print the value of item which contains the deleted item. Then print this printf deleted element is personality item, right? So this is the C function to delete an element from the circular. Any question? Any question?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now I'll discuss the traverse operation in a circular queue. So traverse means visiting all the data items in the circular queue, right? And during traverse, we have to first check whether the queue is empty or not. And this is that case. is the case where the queue is empty, right? Circular queue is empty. And in some other cases, uh, there may be situation where front is less than queue, and there may be situation where front is greater than queue, right? See here. In this case, front value is less than rear value. See here. Front is how much? Tell me. In this case,
0.
So 0.
front is 20 to 0. Okay. And rear is how much?
4.
4. So this is the case where front is less than rear. And this one, tell me, what is the value of front and what is the value of rear?
So front
Rear
3,
0.
rear 0.
Yes, front 3 and rear 0. So here in this case, front is greater than rear. Yes or no? Right? So here,
Yes, sir.
front 3, rear 0. So that means front is greater than rear. So we have three conditions. First condition is circular queue is empty. Second is front is less than rear. Third is front is greater than rear. So in these three conditions, what we will do in traversing. Traverse means we will visit all the elements of the circular queue. If this is the case, if front is less than rear, then you just access all the elements, visit all these elements by incrementing the value of front from this front to rear. Means we will visit, we can use a loop, and in the loop we will start from front and go up to rear. Yes or no? If this is the case. If front is less than rear, then you do this. Start from front, go to rear and access all these elements, visit all these elements. Right? If front is less than rear, then start from front, go till you reach rear, and then access all the elements. This is the case. If it is empty, then just print message that the queue is empty, circular queue is empty. So traverse is not possible. And if this is the case, then what to do? Tell me. This is the case. Means front is greater than rear. Then what to do?
Sir, break the
Also
operation.
empty.
Huh? What to do?
Sir, break the operation.
No, we want to visit all the elements of the case where front is greater than rear. Then what to do? How we will do that?
Also empty condition.
Huh?
Also empty condition.
No, not empty. I'm asking the case where front is greater than rear. Suppose we have data values here also, here one data and here one data. So how we will access this and this also? Here only one element. We may have multiple data also. Suppose this is here we have data, here we have data. Okay. And here also have data, and here also have data, but this is the zero index. This may be the case also. So this is rear is pointing to this and front is pointing to this. Now how to access all these elements? How to use loop? Suppose we have data here also, here also we have data, here also have data, here also have data, and here also have data, and but the rear value is here 0, front value is 3. Then how to access all these elements? We'll use loop, na? Yes or no? So how to do that? Tell me.
Rear equals to rear plus 1 modulus n.
लूप कहाँ से कहाँ चलाओगे? रियर से लेके कहाँ तक चलाओगे? हाँ वो तो करोगे. रियर लूप कहाँ से चलाओगे? See, this is the C code for traverse operation. Int I, if front equals to -1, then you print this, the first case, this one. Front equals to -1, then print this message empty. Circular queue is empty, right? Then second case, if front greater than rear, okay, front greater than rear means this one, this case. Front greater than rear, then what to do? I'm using two loops, right? First loop is, you see, for I equals to front. For I equals to front, I less than n. What is n?
The size of the
What is
queue.
n? Size of the queue. And then I plus plus. Okay, so less than n means what? It will go up to n minus 1, right? I value will go up to n minus 1. Less than n. समझ रहे हो मेरी बात?
Yes, sir.
से जा रहे हैं
Yes, sir.
कहाँ तक?
n-1 तक।
-1 तक जाएंगे और प्रिंट करते करते जाएंगे। हाँ देखो, प्रिंट है पर्सनैलिटी क्यू आई प्रिंट किए, ये वाला ये वाला ये वाला, ठीक है ना। फ्रंट वैल्यू देखो, फ्रंट आई इक्वल्स टू फ्रंट आई लेस देन एन आई प्लस प्लस, प्रिंट किए सब, ठीक है। अच्छा, उसके बाद फिर दूसरा फॉर आई इक्वल 0 आई लेस देन इक्वल्स टू रियर आई प्लस प्लस। आई इक्वल 0 देखो यहाँ से ये वाला देखो आई 0 है, आई लेस देन इक्वल्स टू कितना, आई 0 आई लेस देन इक्वल्स टू रियर आई प्लस प्लस, ओके। इक्वल्स टू 0 आई लेस देन इक्वल्स टू रियर आई प्लस प्लस। मान लो कि ये रियर यहाँ पे होता, ठीक है ना, तो 0 से लेके यहाँ तक प्रिंट करते, इधर एक्सेस करते। अभी इस केस में रियर इसको पॉइंट कर रहे हैं, ठीक है ना। मान लो रियर यहाँ पे होता, ठीक है, तो क्या करते, 0 से लेके इधर आते, यहाँ तक प्रिंट करते, ठीक है। ये वाला फॉर आई इक्वल्स टू 0 आई लेस देन इक्वल्स टू रियर आई प्लस प्लस, ओके। मैं प्रिंट परसेंटाइल डी, this is percentile d in q I, okay, percentile d this one, well this should be okay. And else if these two are not the case, then what to do, just do this one, front I equals to front I less than equals to rear, then I plus plus, then print percentile d q I, okay। ये वाला कौन सा है, ये वाला, ओके।
yes sir।
समझ में आया?
yes sir।
Yes, sir.
चेंज कर देते हैं। ठीक है, अब ठीक है ना, ओके ओके। So this is traverse operation in a circular queue. Advantage of circular queue over linear queue. So what's the advantage of circular queue over linear queue? Can you tell me, students? We just discussed in the last class. The drawback or limitation of linear queue is, even if the queue has some locations, backend locations, still we cannot insert new data because insertion can only be done at the rear end in case of linear queue. I just show you the example, this one, okay. Limitation of linear queue. Here rear is this 7, front is 3, okay. After deleting these 3, but still we cannot insert new data item here in this linear queue because insertion can only be done at this rear end, right? But here, since this is a linear queue, we cannot insert now because it is pointing to the last element. That's why we use circular queue. So in circular queue, if this rear is pointing to the last element, so we cannot insert in the linear queue. But in this circular queue, the rear will now point to this first here. It will be like a circle manner. So rear value will be incremented and it will be now, it will become 0. It will point to 0 and here we can insert value, okay. So this is the advantage of circular. So the if the queue is circular queue is empty, then the sorry, if the circular queue is full, then and there are some vacant positions in the queue, then you can insert new data items in the vacant positions. So in circular queue, this rear value will point to the first element, I mean first location in the circular queue, okay. So this is the advantage of circular queue. Okay. So traverse operation complete, deletion complete, and traverse complete, right? Advantage of linear queue over advantage of circular queue over linear queue also complete. Okay. So now next is DQ, double-ended queue. So this is another queue. Okay. It is known as double-ended queue, and in short we say it as DQ. So it is a linear list, or it's a queue or linear data structure in which elements can be added or removed at either end but not in the middle. So in this queue, the insertion and deletion can be done at both the ends, right? So this is the front, this is the rear. Normally in a linear queue what happens? Insertion takes place at the rear end and deletion takes place at the front. But in case of double-ended queue or DQ, we can do insertion and deletion both operation at the rear end. Similarly, we can do insertion and deletion operation at the front end. So both operations can be done at the front end and rear end. So this is your double-ended queue or DQ. Okay. Are you getting me or not? Students?
Yes, sir.
So this is your double-ended queue or DQ. Okay. So it is again of two types. DQ is of two types: input restricted DQ and output restricted DQ. Input restricted DQ, it allows insertion at only one end of the queue, but allows deletion from both ends of the queue, right? See here, input restricted. Input means what? Insertion is input. In case of insertion, we do input. We give in data as input to the queue. So input restricted means the input operation will be restricted. That means the insertion operation can be done at one end only. But deletion is there. For deletion, there is no restriction. Deletion can be done at both the ends. That is known as input restricted DQ, right? And the other one, output restricted DQ. So here, the output means what? We are deleting, we are removing some data. So here in this case, the deletion operation is restricted. That means at one end only deletion operation can take place, and insertion operation can be done at both the ends, right? So this is output restricted DQ. Okay. Any question?
No, sir.
Then operations on DQ. So we can do these operations in DQ: insertion at the rear end of the DQ, deletion from the rear end of the DQ, similarly insertion at the front end of the DQ, and deletion from the front end of the DQ. So all these are the operations on the DQ or double-ended queue, right? So this is all about your double-ended queue or DQ. And in your syllabus, just the basic concept of DQ is there. Okay. So that's why I'm not discussing the implementation of DQ. This much is there in the syllabus. Okay. Then next is priority queue. So priority queue is a collection of elements such that each element has been assigned with a priority, and the order in which elements are processed comes from the following two rules. An element of higher priority is processed first, and then the lower priority element is processed, right? And if two elements are having same priority, then you have to use the first come first serve order. That means the item or data which has come first or added first to the queue, you process that first. Okay, if both the data items having same priority. Okay, this is priority queue. So in priority queue, all the data items are assigned a priority, and the data item with high priority is processed first, and the data item with low priority is processed last. Okay. So from high priority to the lowest priority, the data items will be processed. And based on this, many algorithms are designed in computer science, and there is a priority queue scheduling in the operating system scheduling process scheduling algorithms. You will read that in your higher semesters, right? So this is your priority queue. Okay. Any question? Any question, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with this, the queue data structure is complete.